This is the Cubs Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Chicago Cubs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Cubs Postcast here on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel. Once again, the Cubs are allergic to sweeps. Can't complete it against the Braves. They lose 5-1 in this game. Cade Horton was nasty while he was out there, and then they took him out of the game. That's going to be the large point of discussion through this one. I'm over the plan that the Cubs have been rolling out there for Ben Brown, with Cade Horton as well. If that's the plan, you got to change at least a little bit. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the offense today. Not many opportunities. PCA not playing in this one again. But we're going to start today's show off with the thing that you'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Before I forget, today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money using code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. What you're talking about, what we're talking about is simple. Cade Horton has to pitch longer into games. It's time to take the kid gloves off of him. Okay, I get what they're trying to accomplish. I understand the logic behind it. But I would remind the Cubs of what happened with Steven Strasburg. He came up as a rookie. He was one of the best pitchers in baseball. They didn't let him pitch in the postseason, and he became one of the most injured pitchers in the history of the game, leaving millions and millions of dollars left on the table because he couldn't throw a baseball at the end of his career. You can't guarantee health by this plan. And the plan makes sense. The plan is logical, but it's time to take the kid's gloves off and just let him pitch. Let him go out there for that next inning. It doesn't guarantee that the Cubs win this game, that, Drew Pomeranz doesn't come in, or Ben Brown in the 7th inning and get blown up like they did in the 6th. But there's no real evidence that this is worth it. Even then, Boog even said it on the broadcast that he used the Cubs' words. They think that this is the best decision for Cade Horton and his future. There's no guarantee that it is. And what matters more at this point of the season is trying to chase down the Brewers. We're live right now, so there's a chance that, you might be 6 games back once again, very likely probably at this point as you guys are listening to this later on, either on YouTube or Apple or Spotify. But it's just he's been the best pitcher on the Cubs by a wide margin in the second half of the season. And again, I get what they're doing, and I hate to keep saying that, but I just don't agree with it anymore. It's September, okay? I said this the last time Cade Horton pitches. Is this their plan for the playoffs? Like, is this what the Cubs are going to do in the third game of a 3-game wild card series against the San Diego Padres at Wrigley Field? And Cade Horton is dazzling, and he's out there. He's nasty. That split changes all over the place like it was tonight. He's striking guys out. He's efficient. But he has 74 pitches at the end of the 5th inning, and you're taking him out against the Padres? Why? Like is that what you're going to do? Like, it better not be. It's the dumbest plan on the earth if that's what you're planning on doing in the playoffs. So what's the difference? Honestly, what I would ask the Cubs is, what's the difference between changing your plan now on September 3rd and then doing it on October 3rd? Because what they're doing after he leaves the game isn't working. And Ben Brown, for the most part, has been awful all season, but he hasn't been good in this role after Cade Horton in these games. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I get it. Like Darren here in the chat, this is a fair point. The Cubs don't want another 10 years of explaining after Kerry Wood and Mark Prior. I get it. But what happens if he's Mark Prior anyways? You can't prove that he's not going to be. You can't prove that this is going to save his arm. Like, for as compare and contrast Dusty Baker's teams there then. They didn't pitch Strasburg when Dusty Baker was the manager with the Nationals. Strasburg's career was still by the end. Mark Prior, he pitched him to death basically, and his career was over before you knew it. So there's really not a good way to do it. And Alex says here in the chat, this isn't a Craig Counsell decision. I agree. Like, this isn't on Craig Counsell. It's a organizational decision that they're making. Probably Craig Counsell's being told that this is what you have to do with Cade Horton. It's whoever's final call it is, because we don't technically know. But I agree. It's not Craig Counsell's decision, most likely. It's coming from the front office. This should not be the decision process at this point in the season. These games are too valuable. And again, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to win this game and sweep this series against the Braves, but it's putting your team in the best position to win baseball games. And Cade Horton leaving after 5 to hand the ball to Ben Brown is not in the best decision. So that's the second part of this. Ben Brown, again, not good in this one. Gets through the 6th inning. He's solid, keeps the no-hitter intact, but then in the 7th there, it unravels and Drew Pomeranz gives up a 3-run home run. And the Braves have the lead in the Cubs, and the Cubs never get close again because the offense struggled, which we'll get to in this game. But if you look at, this roster, and I saw someone in the chat before we started even saying that there's not much confidence in the Cubs bullpen right now going into the playoffs. I think that's fair. I think it's totally fair because even Palencia, who's getting the saves, has been a little shaky. Obviously, Keller has been very good. Rogers and Kittredge have been a little bit up and down since the Cubs acquired them at the deadline. And it's hard to go into a game saying, okay, Cade Horton is going to give us 5 innings, and then the next 4 innings are going to be responsible of your bullpen not named Ben Brown. But the thing is, the Cubs don't play tomorrow. They have an off day. You play the Nationals this weekend. So why can't it? Why can't you go with Keller and Kittredge and Rogers and Palencia to win this game? There's no reason why that can't be the strategy. The strategy doesn't have to be Ben Brown to try to cover for the bullpen to win this game against the Braves. So I'm over this Cade Horton thing. It's not going to change. This is just a complaining session for me at this point. I know it. It's like the Ian Happ thing for the first, whatever majority part of the season. But I even forgot Thielbar. But, you look at what's next for the Cubs. We'll see. I question is, when will they have the chance to change this, or why will they change it at some point? And if they don't, it feels like to me it's going to be costly. Bacon Jr. here, great name on YouTube, says they need to stop trotting Ben Brown out there. He's awful. Yeah. Again, this is if this is your plan with Cade, fine, stick to it. But Ben Brown doesn't have to be the solution to come up there and be the guy that follows him. So it wasn't all on the pitching. Obviously, the lineup didn't do much. They only had a handful of hits in this game. They didn't produce. Kyle Tucker's back maybe on Friday. Pete Armstrong was out of the lineup again today, which was the right decision. I don't like who was in there for him, even though Willi Castro had the RBI. So we'll talk about the lineup, what we saw from this game, and then more of your questions and comments here on YouTube as well. That's all coming up next here on the Locked On Cubs postcast on the Locked On Cubs YouTube channel. Today's show is brought to you by Upside. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. You can use my limited time promo code SEASON and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already need. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. Real people are getting paid to just make their daily commutes, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code SEASON for a limited time 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SEASON. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Today's show is also brought to you by Gametime. There's nothing like catching a baseball game live. The energy, the crowd, the chance to see your team in person, but actually getting tickets, that's the tough part. Queues, login screen, and surprise fees, it takes the fun out of all of it. And that's why I use Gametime, the app that gives you the advantage back to fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time at the best price. Plus, all fees are included, so the price you see is the price you pay. It's awesome to know your total up front. Those fees at the end on other websites are brutal. I mean, sometimes it feels like you're paying for a third ticket. If it's 2 people going, you're paying for the full third ticket just in fees in itself. So at least with Gametime, you know what's on the table. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download the Gametime app today. And finally, today's show is also brought to you by Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401k properties or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you as well, so you can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. All right, Brewers got the win, so the Cubs are 6 back as well. I mean, the Cubs are 6 back of the Brewers. It kind of felt like it was going to be that way, the way that the game was playing out. But look, so the Cubs now, you got a national series coming up here. The other thing from this game that, like, it sucks losing. I get people get all upset. I get it. It's annoying to see the Cubs lose baseball games. I don't like seeing it. I'm annoyed that they can't seem to complete sweeps. But at the end of the day, they did win the series. They had a comeback win in game 1. They held off the Braves in game 2. They lost game 3. Right now, the Cubs put themselves in a mighty hole against the Brewers. I'm still slightly optimistic that there's a chance they could chase down the Brewers. That obviously dwindles kind of every day when the Cubs lose and the Brewers win, like today. But all the Cubs need to keep doing right now is keep winning 2 out of 3. They accomplished that. Now, it should have been more. And what now you have to worry about for the Cubs in the rest of the season, it's not just the Cade Horton thing. It's the Kyle Tucker question of, is this a serious injury? We'll really see. I know the Cubs and Kyle Tucker made it seem like they'll see how it feels on Friday. It's just I struggle to take professional sports teams seriously at this point, or expect them to be totally honest with us at this point for what you're going to see for his return. Maybe he's back on Friday afternoon, I think on Apple TV, and all things are dandy for the Cubs. But the other one's PCA. And now, so PCA back-to-back games. Craig Counsell said before the game that it's a mental break, a reset, a physical break. It's all of that. So they start Kevin Alcantara in game 1, or the first game that PCA is out for. They start Willi Castro in this one. I'll be honest. Like, I know they acquired Willi Castro at the deadline. I know he had the Cubs' only RBI hit tonight. Like, Ian Happ gets on with a single. He gets to third base on the error. Willi Castro brings him home after 2 guys get out. So it's hard to be like, that guy shouldn't play today. But if they're going to do this, I would honestly rather just see the younger player at this point. I don't think Willi Castro has proven as a member of the Cubs that he is deserving to be the replacement player for PCA, as you're going to the rest of the season, not always have him in there against lefties. And, he played so many games early in the year, he's going to just get more off days in general as well. So I'd rather see Alcantara, honestly, just going out there and playing every single day when PCA is not out there. But it is what it is. Thomas says, is it time to stop looking at the division standings? Probably, to be honest with you. It depends on, if you want to be overly optimistic or just feel better. It's one of those where I'd like to – I still look at it mainly because I feel like if one day I wake up and the Cubs are 2 back and I haven't mentioned it on the shows, it's a mistake. But if you feel like Real Dude 73 here who said, yep, the division is over, yeah, I don't blame you. Probably the wild cards, standings are more important, frankly, to just keep an eye on right now of will the Cubs host a team like the Padres in the first round of the playoffs in a 3-game series. I hate the format. We haven't really talked about that before, but I don't love the format that Major League Baseball has come up with for the playoffs. It can work out for the Cubs if Shota and Boyd are awesome for 2 games. But it's probably time just really to be focusing on the wild card position at this point. Just as we get, slowly, further into September, we'll see. But let's see. Bolden says the Cubs should win 2 out of 3 in every series. Brewers have a harder schedule remaining, so the Cubs could have a chance to chase them down. Yeah, absolutely. That's where I do struggle with looking away from it, is the Cubs have a cakewalk of a schedule. Right now, they have, I think, what's one team above 500 the rest of the season. Their schedule's not hard. You got to avoid nights like tonight, though, where the offense just does a whole lot of nothing, and your bullpen, which, again, we just discussed, has not been as nails as you would like it to be. I don't think that Craig Counsell is really bringing in like his circle of trust at this point either. Like, I don't think we're seeing him go to certain guys on a more regular basis. It really feels like he's just still kind of using everyone. So that's something else that is important for me to see the rest of the year. Is just, what does that look like for the bullpen? How often are you really relying on Thielbar, Keller, Palencia, and what's that order of trust look like throughout the remainder of the season? Let's see. O'Reilly says opinion on the Nationals. They're bad. They're bad. I don't think McKenzie. I think Mackenzie Gore's hurt. I know Sunday's TBD right now for the Nationals. So you're not going to be facing like their best pitcher at this point. It's not a good baseball team. This is one where I said I would stop asking for sweeps, so I won't. So just win the series. That's all we can ask for at this point. There's no point in asking for sweeps because, again, the Cubs are absolutely allergic to them. Yeah, Thomas says, got to take 2 out of 3. That's all the Cubs can do. Take 2 out of 3 this week and add an absolute minimum against the Nationals. It should be more, but you take what you can get from the Cubs right now. All right, that will do it for us. Obviously, no game tomorrow. We'll be back with you on Friday after the first game of the Cubs and National Series. So thank you guys all for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, plus wherever you find your podcasts, Apple and Spotify. You can find us there as well. Thank you to everyone listening on the audio platforms. Shout out to you guys and gals. We appreciate you for listening to us, myself and Sam and Matt, every single day. We'll talk to you guys on Friday. Have a good one,